Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge, I join my colleagues in thanking you for your answers. I think they were as candid as you could make them under the rules. And I appreciate all the time you spent preparing for this hearing. I also join my colleagues in thanking your family, especially your partner. This is a tough business sometimes, and it's especially difficult on families. You have quite an extended family as well. I've spoken casually with some of your law clerks, and they're very devoted to you, and that speaks volumes to me. I want to thank Senator Ayotte for her wise counsel and advice. I have two quick questions and then a request, but I can't let go unaddressed some of the comments made by my friend from Minnesota about the Voting Rights Act. I'm from the South. The Voting Rights Act, we were the subject of the Voting Rights Act. And I can say that I guess this is sort of a glass half full or glass half empty sort of thing, but this country has gone from institutionalized slavery to an African-American president in 150 years, which in the grand scheme of life, death, and the resurrection is not that long. And I'm very proud of that. I didn't agree with our first African-American president on all of his positions, but I'm very proud of the fact that this country made that kind of progress, and I just wanted to say that for the record. My first question, I don't know whether you've picked it up from my questions and comments or not, but I have what I think is a healthy skepticism about government. I believe I do have a right to privacy, and part of my right to privacy is to be left alone by government sometimes. That doesn't mean that we don't need government and that I don't have confidence in government, but I think there should be limits to government. And I think the United States Congress sets those limits. Do you agree with me that our United States Constitution is a document of enumerated powers and that neither the federal government nor any of its branches have a power unless you can point specifically to a place in the United States Constitution that gives them that power?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. It's been my experience, and this I was taught, that justice is supposed to be blind. I realize that's a cliche, but cliches become cliches because they're true. Do you agree with me that the wealth, the status, and the power of the parties to litigation should have absolutely nothing to do with the result in the litigation?
Senator, I take an oath written by this Congress. It's a beautiful oath. It's to administer justice without respect to persons, to be blind to who they are, and also to do equal right to the poor and to the rich, and to administer the duties of my office, to discharge them impartially. I've tried to do that here to the best of my abilities. Not perfect. Tried to do it for the last 10.5 years as a federal judge. Not perfectly. But that's what I try to do each and every day, and it's a great privilege and a great honor to be able to do it. And I'm humbled. I'm honored every day I come to work. And I've been humbled and honored to be here with you.
And I believe you'll do that in the United States Supreme Court. My final statement is not a question, it's a request. It seems to me that justice is kind of like health care. It's not really accessible unless you can afford it. And I'm very concerned about the cost of litigation in America and the fact that it has affected access to our courts. It's just become so expensive that many of our people can't afford to have their day in court. And I know administratively the federal judiciary has some powers, and I hope once you're on the court, you'll talk to your colleagues and see if you can put your thinking caps on and do what you can to try to control the costs of litigation. With that, I thank you again. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.